Thank you.
Good morning. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
All right, good deal. Did anyone have a issue logging in or anything? It was because I had other things going. I wasn't sure if I interrupted that. Good morning. Can you guys hear me? Hold
Yeah, I was just a little late joining.
on. Okay, good deal. Sure. So, did anyone have an issue logging in or anything? So, because I had other things going. I wasn't sure if I interrupted that. That's just the echo here. Hold on. Yeah, I was just a little late joining. Okay, that should take care of the double down on this. One second here. All right, welcome. Sorry for the delay there. This is streaming live on YouTube. Yeah, we're just kind of doing this once in a while to kind of get familiar with that. We did have a full profit yesterday on XSP. Nice. And Bill, now I was thinking about this yesterday. It's funny, about a week ago you were saying this has to change. Yesterday says, I like this strategy. It's that, unfortunately, is the trading world that we live in, but keep in mind, for those of you that only do this strategy, you live and die by the day. Whereas when you trade other things, it doesn't have nearly the impact because you're hedging yourself in a lot of trades. So for example, if you're in a trade yesterday that we made 800 bucks on or something like that, and you like for solar, 700 something dollars, and then you had a loser in here, the overall theme is that little bit is not going to affect you that much. But when you have that 2 or 3 down day and you're just doing XSP, which is fine, just know that it's going to wane on you a little bit more. Anyway.
Yeah, I got to get with the program on the day trades.
Well, we're still kind of figuring it out, so I don't definitely knock you for not doing that because we're trying to restructure it. Let's get into that real quick though.
The other thing that looks interesting to me are those box trades that you're starting to do.
And we're really just kind of getting used to this where these bottoms are and support and how far we look back and things like that. The only thing I'll mention about yesterday was the fact that we had a huge day before, and that makes the box very wide on a lot of trades. So to not enter a trade yesterday from a box theory, it was perfectly normal because you have to be boxed up here 9 wide on the SPY. We haven't had a 9 wide on the SPY. There was one there, but that's back in there. But outside of that, there really wasn't any until you get back in a month or 2 ago. So rare. Today would be more likely to happen. We did take this trade in here, gave it a lot of room, and boy, it needed more than that. That thing didn't do anything. But that I like those style trades. I'll probably be doing more of those Because when we're right on those, we can make a mint. Let's get into scanning real quick. I'll start right to left on MSTR. I'm just going to reload this to yesterday's high and include pre-market low today and yesterday's low. It's right here. I always want to be looking to the left, right? I want to see these areas of support because I'm not so much, look at that, it came right back down to where about what that is. I'm not so much as to just trade the box. You know, although I'll look at that if it's extended into the box, it's a different story. If it's just kind of starting out and getting down in the box pretty quick, I'm going to hold back and look for support to the left. If you want to just make that work a little better, you're going to have to use some other criteria than a high and a low, right? Obviously, the market doesn't give you that much fruit that easily, but so we're just trying to get used to this style, and so far I like it. It's just that we're here. We're just kind of getting rolling with it here. So hold on. I want to set these off, then I'll see. There's yesterday's low. There's yesterday's high. Pre-market hasn't caught it yet, and that was Nvidia. Tesla is here. Yesterday's. That's it. Sometimes these little tops are just where the spread was, but we'll put it there anyway. Yesterday's low. Do it this way. And where we are, a couple more Meta. We're going to open in about a minute and a half. Meta's high. Oops. It's high. Why is it not doing that? Meta's low pre-market. Okay, and then we have the SPY and the Q. I more so like these on the SPY and the Q, to be honest. This matches my the concept we used to explore was the after money SPY spreads. These are in line with that, or they're probably as close as you could have done here. Box is going to be narrow on some of these, particularly the market. There's the Qs. Got about 45 seconds. And so today, be a lot closer. So watch these closely because we're going to probably end up getting in one of these. All right, we'll come back to this in a little bit. But you can see a lot of these boxes are kind of just drawn yesterday's low, yesterday's high with pre and post high. So we'll start there. We'll lower that for now. To get ready for the VIX play here. Let me get not that you guys want to see my ugly mug here, but you know. There it is. Hello, hello. All right, and we're on. Where we are in here. I've changed the data, so 11304 is the number I'm coming from today. So watch those as we get closer to. Now, it just so happened that yesterday in the SPY and in the XSP, big wide range DARs with gaps into that bar typically promote inside narrow days, choppy days inside, right? Doesn't have direction. And that's what we had. That was perfect for a credit spread yesterday. Had you had a debit on that, I mean, you lost not everything, but you lost some money. So, you know, you're going to get on the wrong side of these at times, there's no doubt, but we're just trying to make good what we can make good of.
VIX is up.
VIX gapping up. Pull that up real quick. Go to 1
Slightly,
minute.
not much, but a little bit.
931.5. Doing earlier here. Yeah, it's up a little bit. Gapping up. We have to go with that. XSP. XSP here. We want to, we know that gapping up is credit, right? There's your big gaps down, right? Up is credit. 11,304, the same, I believe. Yeah, 11,304. That went down to 500, 11,10,5 back here. So it doesn't take long to go one way or the other when you start adding these contracts in there. Okay, so we're on the credit side here. Let's take a look. 650 is the center so far. Take a look at 650. Selling options. Let's start there. We can always change this. 2 deltas, push us out to, well, there's 655. Let's keep the 3 wide. There's not that much difference in there. They're exactly the same from 2.5 to 2, 1.5 to 2. I'll go with the easier one. Make that symmetrical, 45. Once we start gapping more, we start getting wider spreads. Your risk is higher, but your credit's higher too. All right, 650. We're at 932, almost 933. Got a little time. 203. So it's picked up a little bit in volatility off the 5 wide from what it was yesterday. So that is our strike, would be here. I'll get this ready to push out in case it is.
I'm going to go 6 wide.
6 wide. What's the credit on 6 wide?
211.
Okay, so another dime. So you're getting a dime, but you're risking $100. Actually, yeah, $100 more. And obviously, we've never hit those last chains, so technically, really not risking it here. Duolingo's on the move. UNH, see the gap up here? 11, $12. So we could come out of that thing profitable. Crazy. Okay, market sense sitting here. XSP kind of sitting here. The center strike is 650, which is where we are now. We're just up a little bit. We're at 934.08. Just another few seconds. Probably into rolling with this. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of post. Right on it. 839. 40. There it is. Oh, that's what it is. So bid you one higher. I'm going to bid 206 to start with. Okay. Let me just check my thing here first. I got to see how many shares I'm doing. 206. If I get that, I can do 2 contracts. Notice how I went from 1 to 2, right? 180, 172 yesterday. I'd be at 3. See the fine line we're in right now? So back to 2, just following the madness here. Okay, I have my order in for 06. I think our situation was we were waiting for 640, right, to go get it. We start with a little higher on the bid where they're bidding for the stock. In this case, the credit. So, and then we at 940, we go get it, right? This gives us a chance to move away a little bit. And if we move away, either way, we up would be better because you're already quarter in, would move the needle on this. So, whereas if you move either way on a debit, it hurts you. Move either way on a credit, it helps you. Duolingo's trying here again. I think this is a good bottom here. We'll look at this again later and I'll show you what I'm thinking about on this. We're looking at only because we're at weekly support. If you look at weekly support on Duolingo, it is on the penny. 263.68, 263.68. You can't drop for 300 points and drop to the penny. Weekly support struggling here. There's got to be a bounce. And we're right in that same wheelhouse. It's perfect because it broke the daily lower level buy setup in there. If this thing goes, we could see some pretty good prices just because it got oversold in the short term. We're at 936.40. Got just a few seconds here, or another minute or two. So we'll hang tight. $9.37. SMCI kicked it in gear here. Need a little bit of a move here. The SPY is currently at about a just over 50-cent move here. See where we are in the bigger picture. We're inside of an inside, right? Today, the boxes are going to come alive in here. Remember, you're tight on the boxes because of volatility's definitely collapsed. So remember, sometimes the box isn't going to be the best play. You got to go beyond those areas. So just kind of note that because we are in some width. Or we've stymied that in a little bit here. 206 is still there. 937. 938 just about. So that's close. The market hasn't taken off, but if it does take off, that's good. That's what we want to see. We want to see on the well, we want to see to get in, okay, and then we want to stop. We had our choices. That's what we'd be choosing from. All right, we're just about there. Market's breaking through the top here on the SPY. Trying to should move the needle a little bit in the spread. Might get it here. Very close. This is a 5Y with a 650 being the center. Actually identical to yesterday. Where you lose it in some of these, you have an inside day and you collapse things, you get tight, and then the market expands and you have a credit. That's where it gets tricky sometimes in these credits. Okay, we got about 50 seconds, and I'm gonna go. What I'm gonna do, I'm not gonna go to 202. I'm gonna work my way down. But when I move down to 205, 204, 203, the middle will change lower too. Just know that. So not doing much of anything. Yesterday's high in the SPY was 649.84. We're about 50 cents away. We got about 20 seconds. Coming in, that's going to drop the spread a little bit. All right, I'm gonna roll to 204. It's coming in. Not gonna miss it. For a couple of bucks. 202. You see when you come in, you're coming closer to this. Actually, no, that's a SPY. All right, there's coming closer to the 650. It doesn't help your credit at all. Give it a second or two. $2. Might get it here. 198. I'm filled at 198. All right. Put that behind us. See the UNH gap here. This is actually 350 strike. So there's 10 days left in expiration, but darn thing could work. It's so beat up. They could have a $20 day one way or the other. Lingo's doing fine. There's no volume here yet. 46K. Next still pulling back, which is not a short. Put PLTR on the list, just kind of watching the little turnabout, double bottom here with tails at the 8. 20 is above though. PLTR has been a hammer one. This was 190. Now you're very quickly into the 140s. Gotta be careful with that one. So we pull back to the 650 marker, which is where we want to be ultimately, right? Later on, not necessarily now. And so when you see these things move up or down, that's kind of what we want to see, right? Because we want to see the reversion, right? The turn back to those areas later, and that'll actually get your fill. Right now, doesn't really matter what the market does. We don't want to see anything erratic. It really doesn't matter what not that we have any control over it. There's nothing we can do with it. It just has to do its thing, and hopefully this proves out. I got 195-ish showing. So if I take my 195, 50%, that's 97.50 is my one target. So I only have 2 contracts. I'll be doing one at limit order of 0.97. Make sure when you do that, you're doing that on the debit side, because if you just type it in, sometimes you'll get a credit for that. You want to back it up using the debit side. So 97. Sell one limit 97. All right, and we want to set our second target on this for times 25% less that 24 cents add 0.24 plus 0.97. 121, target 1. So if you're doing 2 contracts and you're following that method, 1.21 is the debit for half, which is 50% of the 75. I'm sorry, it's 75% of the 50. Okay, all my targets are set. Now it's the time to go buy here. If you're just joining YouTube, welcome. Jeff Yates, Full Throttle Traders. We do this every day. We start off with an XSP play, and we follow using a metrics of credit debits. We do very well at that. You can see some of the history in that. We've had probably 15 or 16 consecutive winners. You're going to have losers in there mixed in, but for the most part, it's been a popular, well-received strategy that ties into the volatility and also ties into the gaps in the direction, the VIX and things like that. Let's see. Now we're going to go back here and look at some of the boxes we've got drawn here. And we'll start here on, just go right to left, MSTR. Now this is going to be Bitcoin related, right? So when your Bitcoin moves, you're going to see MSTR move. It's been pretty beat up. You look at the daily chart. It's moved down from this new peak at 458. It's a mover. These ADRs in here, not so much yesterday, and even yesterday was still 10, 12 bucks, but some days a single move, 17, and other days it moves 30 bucks. So just be mindful if you get behind one of these big moves here, we don't sell too early, look for chart areas to sell. You can make some mint on this here. But right now we're trading inside the pre-market high, post-market low, yesterday's low. So we'll go with it, leave it sit there. This is Microsoft. Now remember, Microsoft got hit the other day on Friday, I believe, and pulled all the way back. So that was an awful wide box. You never were going to get close to that probably. And so today is a lot closer. You can see how narrow the box is. This is pre-market high right in here. Now I'm not going to do anything here. This is way up here. I would rather see Microsoft go up quite a bit before I begin to short into that reversion area. I'd also wait for, we're going to wait till about 10 o'clock. So we have about 14 minutes. We're going to readjust the boxes and then we're going to see what we got. Right, then we're going to play off those. So it's safer to do it that way. You got the big news out of the way. NVIDIA, there's yesterday's high, yesterday's low, not too big of a range here. And the pre and post is in between that. Nothing there with NVIDIA just yet. SMCI is going a little bit more. High This is Tesla high low. Pre-market high low is inside the range yesterday, so most of these are still inside days. I expect them to break through here. Getting some play on Meta. Nice high here. The low yesterday, and then you have pre-market low. So the pre-market low, post-market low is lower yesterday. We want to see as we get back to the top of the box. We're 56, we're climbing to about $6 to the top. We'll adjust this in about 12 minutes, and then we got something. Inside here on the Qs, not doing much. See the Qs at 0.14. The Nasdaq is still growing higher than this broader market in here. IWM, the Russell's being sold off a little bit, but so far they've been back in tech this week and maybe the latter part of last week. And there's just buying much of the same here. We'll adjust this box as soon as we get past 10 o'clock. So that's kind of where we are initially. We're in the XSP play. And just about flat here, 195. We have the target. I'm going to post these targets real quick. I have 1.21. Oops. Target 1. 1.21. Target 2 is going to be 0.97 on the back. Okay, so there's the targets on XSP posted in Discord. If you're in YouTube Live, we actually post everything in Discord, so you won't see all that, but we're posting this out to the teammates. The market's still in a little bit of a chopper. You look at the back and forth. So we're inside day, and we're the inside of an inside. Okay, that's pretty darn narrow. We moved 75 cents in the market, dang near 20 minutes. Now it's probably going to break one way or the other, but we've got our credit. See what happened to the credit here. We're sitting here at the XSP at 60.15 in the SPX mini options there, SP 500. And so right now, we're basically flat. But see what happened to the credit. So where you want to be the best is here. The credit will dive in here. If we got out of the box, that credit would have went up. We probably could have got 210 for that maybe. But right now we're in a range. So you got to take it because this was going to keep dropping unless you get a wide bar, which is likely. We are the credit is actually headed in our direction in here. UNH slight pullback in here. See if it regroups. Watch the you can watch the bonds here. You can see TLT did drop here. It's been a huge day up from this little bottoming bar here, 85 up to 89. It's a lot for the bonds. You can see interest rates probably back up a little bit today, not much, but that's dropped, one of the biggest drops that we've seen all year in interest rates. Duolingo still holding here. I'll post the ad if we need to. Right now we're fine. There's really no volume here. They don't really come into stock. 63,000 shares, Duolingo, and you run about 1.5. So they're just, some of these take 20 to 30 minutes to really get themselves opened up here. In fact, we are getting close to moving our boxes around in here. So watching PLTR, nothing going on here. It's starting to kind of break out here. I like to see the relative strength if the market pulls back, how this holds in that. But again, I'm going to start building the list every day soon. So you'll see the lows and the highs of the up list and the down list from more of a daily chart, not necessarily an intraday chart. Kava's still moving down. Now we're only in a quarter position here, right? So it's a very, very minor. Check the weekly chart on Kava. Remember, this was our earnings play right there. Got support, some support below. It's more pivot support on the weekly, but it's support. There would be the next level. So still watching Kava. Okay, market's starting to make a little bit of a break for it here. We're at 650 or 951. Got about 8 minutes-ish. We'll start moving the boxes around, then we'll start getting into the day trades. Okay, this is not that far. So it's basically just through the area. slightly green in the XSP here. We broke below the bottom of the box. If you look at what we broke to today, the 2-minute chart broke down to gap fill, which is not that much. So we're still in exactly a 75-cent range of the market, extremely narrow. And if you don't find a relatively strong stock or a weak stock and the market rates one or the other, you're going to go with it. So this market is poised. Remember that analogy I used to use was the spring analogy. When things compress like this, right? What happens is they get ready to snap, they bolt. And it may be today, may not be today, but as they begin to compress, it's like compressing a spring. All that demand that's being pent up in there begins to explode and then unravels, and then the market shoots one way or the other. And that's just a product of, it's almost like a pinch play, it's almost like a wedge. And you see the market doing this here, same exact concept as a pennant or a wedge like that, right? Because you're compressing price. In that example, you have higher lows and you have lower highs. In this example, you just have compression. After an inside day here, market could make a move in here, may not do it today. Or nothing's for sure, but it sets up the at some point they could blow it out. We don't want to really see that unless the market begins to grind lower first or higher, because we are dead on the credit right here at 650. So again, no matter what we do, what we say, we cannot move this credit any lower until time goes by. You know the drill. It's typically around 1 o'clock. On Friday, we saw 11:30, but we're taking profits because the market was straight down. But days like today, at least so far, Friday, we were on the debit side, right? So we were basically on either way direction. This direction would have got us out right around in here. But normally, yesterday, we didn't get out till over in here, right? So it takes a lot longer when you're kind of just looping back and forth. This is the anchor VWAP in the blue here. We're watching anchor. You see how this SPY really honored anchor VWAP. It does a lot, actually, using the previous day as an anchor. You can use any day. You can go back even another day and use anchor. But I think more people are more common to use 1 day back in anchor because it's more, current, reasonable, justifiable. People do it. Duolingo pulling back here a little bit. Volume is still there. It's only 6,000 more shares, so it's still spready. Market pulling in. Starting to get some width on the UNH. Remember, this is the one here. I just got a small amount, 500 shares of BKKT. This is that one I've been watching. I mentioned that this is not official. You can see, there it is, right here on the screen now. So this is obviously going to move with Coinbase. This is going to be more in the technology software, but it moves with obviously metals and also crypto. So you'll see this move here. So if you wanted it, like, to me, that's cheap. So I just picked up 500 shares just because I think I can make a couple $1,000s on that. But again, not tracking that, just noting. Some of these cheaper stops you can just get in place. Yes.
The non-farm payroll revisions number 10 could move the market some.
Yeah, good point. Non-farm payroll revision numbers are coming out here at 10 o'clock. Now, this is not non-farm payroll. It's just that every few months they revise this, or annually they revise this method, almost like mark to market on your non-farm payroll. So yeah, let's let that happen and watch the market here. They may be waiting on that here. So we got about 3.5 minutes before that particular noise comes out. Beyond that here, if you look here, I've posted in Discord. If you just joined in YouTube Live, all this is posted in our Discord for our members. But for those of you, I'll show you where it looks like non-farm payroll annual revision, right? Not something you see all the time. You see this about every 3 weeks at 8:30 on a Friday. So it's different today on a Tuesday because it's an annual revision. It's not normal. And that's pretty much it for news today, right? And then we start getting to some of the PPI, crude stocks inventories throughout the week, core inflation data. Another good reason why the market might not break one way or the other. You got basically core inflation CPI coming out on Thursday. huge speculative that people want to make the move in front of a shot and then not to be undone with jobless claims on Thursday. It's going to be a big early day on that. And then we're going to look at Michigan consumer sentiment at 10-minute price. So once we get past tomorrow, and even some tomorrow, it starts to pick up on Thursday on news. Let's see here. I'll just put this on the sheet so I can see it. I'm having to click through. Oh. There it is. Okay, so I can just watch this up here. Again, I'm looking for a couple grand in this. I'm not looking to come out of this right off the bat. If you wanted to play this, you can drop that risk size down. I don't have a stop on this because I'm getting such a small amount of this. Duolingo starting to get a little bit of volume. You're coming back in here with the market. XSP is straight up. Small, slightly profitable from a 195. That includes commissions. We're in about $2 or 198. UNH starting to make the climb again. The SMCI is, and they're not doing much. This is straight up on a flat 200 in here, but you notice it's getting wedged by the 8MA here. You guys are watching CNC. You are getting up above this area, right, on the gap. Now it looks better, right? But I still wouldn't do it. You still have a double top here coming in at 29.90 unless you're rare scalping. You got the 50MA coming in here. You don't have a lot of room on the hourly chart. It's not for me. But if you like that, you can take, 15, 20 cents out of something like that. It's fine. But that's not my style. I like gapping above the 8, but I don't want to be so close to the top. Okay, reverted back to 650. The SPY has moved. And we're about 1 minute from the top of the hour. We'll readjust our bands here. We've moved about $1 in the market in here, which isn't fantastic for 30 minutes, but remember, they could be waiting on these numbers. That continued to pull back. This is not a short, as I keep mentioning in here, but they keep pulling it back. We'll see. This Duolingo, again, based on where I think it's going here, should produce us about $500 to $700. If we're right, there's no guarantee, but everything is perfect about this Duolingo. Weekly support, pullback, tremendously oversold. First turn of the buy setup down here at the low. This is a reverse more. And not to mention, you do have a measured move here. What's a measured move? Here comes 10 o'clock. Right in here, there's your box. You want to see the distance above the consolidation, the distance below. That is a concept. It will move the same distance from here to here as it does from the box to the bottom. And tied in with the weekly support, I can't imagine people not wanting to jump on board this. But again, anything goes in the stock market. Okay, here comes the market on those revision numbers. Moving the credit around a little bit. You can see it's just picking up the credit in here, the width of it. It's not really moving the needle on that yet. But we're going. All right, let's see what she gives. All right, let's go back and fix our boxes right now. And here's where we are. So dealing with the SPY slightly up here a little bit. We'll move this just a tick. Now we got what we got on this, right? This becomes our barrier today. I want to be careful because we're dealing with narrow range days. See this, look at the market back and forth here all of a sudden. So because we have narrow boxes and narrow day, we want to be careful about the bottom of these boxes. They may not hold. Meta doing fine, no adjustments. Tesla, fine, no adjustments. Pulling in here, Nvidia, no adjustments yet. Again, so I'm not going to move these at all. These are the tops and bottoms. We're not going to move these now. Microsoft pulling in. I will adjust this a little bit on Microsoft. Right now, we'll just watch these as we continue on here. Again, be careful about narrow ranges coming out, because if you try to use a box, bottom and top, it's not the same. You want to be looking for other support areas or precipitous drops or extensions beyond 4, 5, 6 bars on a 5-minute chart. I would, as long as there's support near, I'd be looking at shorting those areas, just have reversion plates. Meta coming down, our MSTR coming down pretty good. It's got a ways to go to 22. And nothing really to look at. We'll just keep peeking at these. Let them do their thing. But market's kind of wrapped up in itself right now, right? It shoots up, anticipation runs up high, and the same bar pulls right back down the 2-minute chart, now back high. But where are we? We're back at open. We're back at gap fill. We haven't done anything, right? There's just a whole lot of shuffling around here. If anything, it's helped a little bit of a collapse or a crush in the credit side of the 0 DTE and XSP here. All right, get some traction on the BKT. You know, this should break out here. I'm looking for the 100 on this. That is, or 13.5. So I think this 9 will go to 13. I have a little problem here at the 100 at 12. I think it's got $4 in it. Fields here falling in. Look at that. You never know. Like, that looks good when you look at that in a vacuum. It's stuck on the 8 though. Duolingo, getting some traction back to the other side. Again, I see this being a 300 is the white line. That is, I'm sorry, that's actually 285 now. It was higher, 289 yesterday. I'm looking at this to go through the 8. If I get up into the 8, 289, that's $14. That'll move the needle at a 50 delta by about $6. That's where you get that $600 from. Again, we'll trail it. I'll be on the 15 or the hourly if we get up anywhere near the 8 MA and EMA here. UNH back, watching that. Kind of going through the channels here. Don't see anything specifically. Take a look at the 500 stock in here, see what may be up here that might be losing it here. I do like to play gap, and I would play probably more of the gap higher that craps out. So you got to look at the higher drops. Not a lot gapped up here. That's holding. UNH, NASDAQ, team dropped up, not a lot. Let's check the high cap 1000. MBIS, what happened to this thing? Whoa, 35% up, was higher than it, 97 to 86, very high beta stock technology. This is typically this is an ADR as well. It's not trading like an ADR, it's very tight. This is an ADR. Put there as a watch. It's got a high beta, probably won't do it as a result. And then that's about all for those. I'll check one more. The high caps. Another big one here. Something happened, buyout or something on TRML. You don't want to be messing with that. That's the Roach Motel right there. Nothing else I see. Just want to see stocks that are extended where I can short into. Check the option watch list in here. I am watching Trade Desk here, not today specifically. A breakdown of the base here on the daily chart to get the reversion. We're going to go again, AMAT. These are all just previous. While I am watching Kava, we're only in 1/4 position there, so just let it drop. Do its thing here. We're plenty of time out. We're 38 days in that. So we don't want to do it. If it takes too long, we're not going to add. But Lulu, kind of watching that drop. That won't be for another week or two. And I added this one today and drop. Other than that, we're back to our normal. Check out windows here. Okay, SPY, Qs. Everything's staying within region in here. The Tesla did move down a pretty good shot from 50 to 45-ish. You want to see back, you want to look back at least 2 days and see these are more lower level, higher odds levels, how they get there. But I don't necessarily want to go back here. But again, the box, we have to see how it actually exits the box. So I think it's a big part of this. Okay, so NVIDIA touched. NVIDIA touched. So if you look at this, the top of this area is a little bit of a floor. It's actually above that area, 167, another dollar lower. So watching NVIDIA, that's interesting. Microsoft, I'm a little less interested in Microsoft in the boxes. It's been down. I think they can buy this back quick, get on the wrong side of that in a hurry. Nothing to do with this. So I think our play right now seems to be around NVIDIA. Watch NVIDIA. I mean, market isn't doing anything. We're already up 40 bucks in XSP here if you have two contracts. Remember, 121 is exit one. So Lingo still holding on, starting to get a little, there's some volume coming in, 129 now. Starting to get spikes in here. Get a little movement in the BKKT. I think this is software related into crypto. Okay, let's go back into video. It's already climbing. Kind of did bounce. It got there, I guess, kind of good. Had a little diversion bar, but green bar, but it kind of came back down to yesterday's low and the top of this area within reason, but not enough. It turned too quick. Meta's going higher. We've watched Meta up here. Pretty good run here around 766. We'll see how it gets there. What you don't want to see is a consolidation near and then a move into there. Sometimes it is a failed breakout, but more often than not, I don't want to see the rest and then a breakout. I want to see extensions into the boxes. I don't want to see a rest because that becomes, it can break through. The SPY is 0 here. I mean, it's just junky crappy. Look at this. How terrible that is, right? We talked about this. You're inside of an inside. It is compressing in here, and it did move on the non-farm payroll, but anyway, YouTube, thanks for being here. This is I'm gonna end it for there. We're gonna get ready to go into the day trade side here using our box method. Thanks for being here. You can always join us on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and hope we'll see you in the room here sometime. Liz, you guys still with me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Shouldn't lose that. There it is. Okay. All right. Thought I lost my thing. All right, we're good. All right, we should be good here again. Go back and check our NVIDIA out. Now, SPY's starting to make a move here. We are breaking the high of the day here. Go back to NVIDIA and see what it's doing. It might be going with it. It's going higher. Bringing most stocks up. That's what Microsoft yet. Everything's still within. Remember, this is a little longer trading method in here. You don't necessarily you're done by 10 o'clock. You're just getting going. SPY looks aggressive here, right? It's up here. Look to the left here. This is a better place on Friday at 6:52, right? Which isn't that far away. Now, if you get an extension through here and you just keep extending, I would look to short the SPY as we approach these areas. But you want to see a continuation in here. There's a 2-minute chart. I like to look at it on a 5, take some of the noise out initially, but this is where I'm going to focus right now. NVIDIA turned around. You want to see this breakout. One of these. Most of these are in here too. I can always glance over here and get an idea. Broader markets catching the text. The Russell still kind of sold off here. So everything's just kind of bouncing back and forth, but that's no surprise because that's what the market's doing, right? Until it doesn't. 10:13, just getting started here. Nate's trying to make a push up again. Get some traction in our software crypto. A little 3-bar play on the 15 is kind of interesting. Starting to break through here. Maybe $11. Start whittling some off that. Market's not going anywhere, guys. It's back and forth. It's yin and yang. Moves up, breaks the high. Now remember, moved down, broke the low, moved back up, tied the high, broke the low one more time to anchor, all the way back up and broke the high. Then now pulled it in pretty good. So we're not going anywhere. Fast. Check out our markers. Microsoft is starting to break through. Remember, I'm less interested in I'm interested, but I want to see it accelerate first. I don't want to get behind the wrong way. Let's do a quick stop on that. Qs, you see the Qs? Not as good as the SPY. It is actually showing better on the Qs, and but I look at the chart, it doesn't look as good. 5 minute, same time frame. Look at the market, guys. We're right back down again. That's not hurting our credit spread, I'll be honest with you. It's helping us, right? We're moving in and out. We're still inside. Look where we are on the daily chart of the SPY from a trend. We got back above the bottom line, the adjusted bottom line, put the center. Where are we doing now? We're holding the inside. We're also holding back up to the 8. You don't move. We gap down below the 8, quickly got back above it, and we've stayed there as far as closed above. Started nibbling at silver up in here yesterday. I'll be adding that position on the pullback. There's Microsoft, looks like the market, right? Another thing interesting about Microsoft, maybe this is a way to go, is that we are below the 8 here. We moved up to 50% of the retracement off the huge day, right? Sellers could come in there. Actually, I didn't see it from a daily perspective. I don't mind that. 502.10 is the high today. It's got some struggle in there, right? We're near the top of the box. The thing that probably concerned me more was where we were in this box. We were a narrow bar here. You'd have to keep a tight stop doing this here, but look at the market right back down, guys. Well, it's 166 at the center point already. It's actually pretty decent. Remember, the more volatility you have, so the higher the credit is, the quicker you'll be able to take profits because you're getting that collapse of volume, collapse of the volatility, the IV crush, in a sense. It's a 0 DTE, right? So you want to see them high and then you want to see them crush. Let's see what we got on ETFs. Got XLE Energy moving a bit higher here. They've been under pressure for the last week or so. Housing back down here, pretty good amount. Bonds still dropping here. Interest rates will be climbing a little bit. Result. And XRT, Walmart, so TJ Maxx. TJ Maxx holding pretty well. Remember, this is one we've sold out. We ran it from the bottom here. We sold it somewhere in this bar, and then it gapped up and went lower, but it's still holding pretty well. Just can't count on that much, right? We were looking for it maybe up in here, it didn't go. But we got out with a decent profit. Market right back down to 649.88 in XSP, right? Try to trade that. It's tough. There's AMD. I don't have that in the box, but I'm just watching that on the side. Okay, Microsoft still breaking out. Let's go back to Microsoft here. I don't think the video was moving back up so far. See one of these, just one. All right, there's a big solid bar, 400K in volume on this 5-minute bar. The high is 502.10 for sport and 502.12. We just broke the high there in Microsoft. Now, market's been going down. If you look at the SPY, 1, 2, 3, 4 bars down to 2. Microsoft then moving up. So it's got some relative strength in there, so careful. This is the first area of contention at 504. Ideally, I want to see Microsoft just extend out to around 506. Ideally, and then short that top. Let's start here. Meta. 4 bars up from the 5 on Microsoft. Trying. So that's my new friend. Watch it. UNH is trying to break out. See, there's the open line right there. Above VWAP, above the 9 EMA on the 2. Holding all that demand up there. Too early to short Microsoft here, in my opinion. You're just fresh break on 400K volume right there. Even though it's 4 bars up. See the little void on the hourly chart here? These are things you don't see on the daily chart. Now, this is what you do see. That 8 is at 502.77. Didn't make it there, but right, it's going there. Now, it'll go through there a buck or two, so don't think that I'm going to short the 8. It won't hold. It may hold at the end of the day. It won't hold in the short term, though. Cannabis moving higher again. Check some options, watching again. Trade desk, TDT, TTD. The Lulu, again, that's another week or two out best. Nothing on there. Center is 650.03. Right? Can't be any better than this. Like, no matter what it is, you can't be any better than 35 cents, 30 cents down. Because we are dead up on 650. The only you can bring on is time now. Microsoft is rebelling this high. What is it? Oh, the pre-market. Yeah. It's pre-market high and right. So it's rebelling a little bit of that pre-market high right there. And so is the market though, but it was stronger first. Again, this could be a breakout for Microsoft, so be careful. You know it's red here. So you don't want to be too antsy because you're coming out of a consolidation there. You want to see the extension into there is better. In my opinion. Everything's still inside the window here, right? Video could be a play. Tesla's dropping a bit here further. Meta's going higher. Using the spiral, Whip City. Look at that mess. Volume came in Duolingo, but then settled down again. See the volume drop off back well below average. Okay, Tesla's coming down. Use Inspire, just their junk. Tesla's kind of starting to head down. We'll watch this as it gets around anchor. See anchor there, and there's the top. That's minor price support right there, just below the anchor by about $1.50. Okay, pull up Tesla over here. The 8 to 342, that's right where anchor is. Put my mouse right there. Actually, just below it here. It's 344, yeah, right there. So this is the 8 at that minor price support. So we'll see how it gets there. If it gets there, we could look at Tesla. We're gonna need prices to move a little bit more though. So that's come under the radar. NVIDIA is still there. Interested. Microsoft did basically a bare 180 against that 5-minute bar. Pretty much nothing else on the radar, right? Or chop, chop, chop. Okay, nothing yet. UNH through the open line, actually punching through the these earlier fib levels was 23.6. Now they're not current, a little bit more adjusted down here. 23.6 is right above it now, so it's got room to 380. I'm telling you, if it wants to, there's nothing saying the same won't go. Just looking for a break-even exit on that net exit. NVIDIA is about 50 cents from double bottoming in here. Let's look at these other time frames in here. There's your demand bar right there, wide range bar in the gap. I'm going to see a drop a bit more. Look at this on a 5-minute chart. These are the kind of boxes, I don't have a top on there, but if you did draw a top to bottom, you're watching that, you want to be careful about these boxes because you're getting into this support buy setup in here, right? Then you would be shorting what would be support buy setup. This is not one we're playing, but this is what I'm saying you want to watch out for. Don't try to use the box, but get ahead of what the extension pattern is on a larger time frame, because they might just keep going. $172, so far so good. 649, excuse me, 649.70. So this is perfect for the credit so far. We just need it to stay. For those of you that got out of that one yesterday at $1.08, how good does it feel to be out of the lion's share, or at least half your position, and then whatever happens in the back, you're safe, right? I know you give up $40 to do that, but it's State Farm Insurance. And again, think about this in terms of 10 contracts. What would that look like? Microsoft pulling back off those highs. Meta, same. Tesla didn't get there. Use SPY. Once again, not good conditions here. I see things a little differently. I look at that too. I got to be careful, right? Sometimes you see things that not the same way. See the video. Okay, we're about 50 cents away in the video. See how it handles this bottom here. Again, if we keep going down, I could buy the bottom. Now, the one thing I'm not doing here is adding. Not that I won't. It's always on the table for me, but I'm going in all on these. But I, just kind of getting started with the two. Let me change it. UNH still going higher. Silver still pulling back. Okay, market's at the low here. No surprise, you're seeing this little red here. Market's at the low. I think it took out the low. There it is. It took it out there. You want to see this pullback. We're still an inside day here. Right? Inside days promote choppiness, right? Nothing directional. We're getting that. Took out the high, took out the low, tied the high, took out the low, took out the high, took out the low. Getting some movement into 1030 here. Okay, here is NVIDIA breaking the low. Microsoft pulling all the way back. STR still has a ways. Tesla 705 back in the game. Okay, things are starting to shape up a little bit now. Hughes, another 80 cents lower. NVIDIA, let's take a look at that. Now here we are. Here's the top of the box. Okay, we're 4 bars down to 15. I mean the 5. 15. Okay, let's check the cues. Technology and the SPY are the same now. They're both down. See how the cues are at the bottom already? There's yesterday's low the cues are at. Big wide range move here, kind of igniting, probably pushing our spread back a little bit. Today's low. Few things here. And then now it's just a matter of what do you like better? The only thing that's in play is NVIDIA. Maybe Tesla, not quite. Qs. SPY maybe a little later. Qs look to be the play, and also NVIDIA seems to be the play. Now, this is a 5-minute scope here, several bars down. It's just moving on down, back to negative in XSP here, about $1.50. It broke down. It's all happened at 10:30. The SPY is stronger, holding up better. The Qs is breaking through. See if we can get down to this 576.5, 576 level. But we are pretty well extended down here. Let's see. Playing this off stock. 78, 577, 44 is the low. There's my extension. There's my 15, kind of like that. All right. I'm still moving down pretty good here. Market just turned about here. Tesla bid too. Tesla's an anchor too. Like a bunch of things lining up here. Video. Views are being sold off more than the broader market. You can see here 0.27. Five-minute cues. Pretty cherry right there. Video too. There's actually a minor price support in this. 5 minutes, kind of a wide bar on volume down here. This is the video. The highest 167.59. All right, we're putting the video on the radar here, guys. Oh, it's 166.93. That support would be 167, 166, 165.50 maybe. Okay, load up the NVIDIA. Like this new support in here. One more drop. Okay, I'm gonna do 167 on NVIDIA by 165.50. You have to put a limit order in there. You're gonna be buying it going long. My order is in. NVIDIA. $67 by 166. Sorry, 165.50. Okay. Orders in, no fill yet. Everything got pulled back on that little market push. Go back to the box. That's a bouncing off anchor. There could be another good one in there. But I think I'm going to work this NVIDIA a little bit. I do like where it's at minor price support through the box here. This is what I like to see. Something that gives me something. The anchor is okay. But it's going to get filled down here. If not, I have the choice to lower my shares and do the 5-minute buy setup down here. So far, it's a subdued bounce. The low went to 93, 166.93. Getting close. Microsoft, it did pull back on Microsoft, but too risky to me for a breakout. SPY still moving lower. Q still moving lower. Nvidia trying to get in it. It's not cooperating. Low on the Qs is 577.21, not far from here. Minor price support is not there. A little bit more, iffy if I don't have something I can hang my head on below this box. See, Tesla would be more about anchor, right? So I don't have minor price support, but I do have anchor, and this thing works, holds pretty well. Nvidia coming back down, trying not to chase this thing in. Very close. One more loop. A big shot down in the Qs. Wow, the SPY took a hit. Qs did too. Nvidia close. I'm just really putting my stop a little bit out of the ways, and I'm underneath this little area here. It's kind of helping determine where I want my stop. The credit spread's okay with this big drop here, right? Enough times went by. 06, just about in it. I could still take the buy setup if it goes higher first. That's at 40. I would just have to lower my shares to keep the stop around 190. I think the key is making your entries, try to make your entries out of the box if you can, and have a good catalyst to the left. Again, it could be anchor, could be VWAP even. But we're getting to the point on the video where markets turned back hard here, and Nvidia went with a little bit here. 40 would be that 5-minute buy setup, and actually hit that. I didn't get in, still waiting. Big turnaround of the market. So they're going to be dividends on the credit spread there. With the SPY, it actually did touch that bottom and went. Qs, let's see, what was the bottom? The bottom was 577.69. It went to 01. Nvidia, it's out of the box. Like them better when they're out. At least I think I do. Still messing with it. Hey, Nvidia coming back down. Now remember, on the first third here, the first piece I want to take is going to be about 30%. I'm going to leave 70. If we get that big run back up, you'll see them. You'll make a mint. But if you don't have a lot of shares to take, trigger here, then you don't get a big move. anchor would be a good place to exit in here if we get in it. We'll get out of the third before that, maybe. I don't know, we'll see. You got to get in first. O5 was a low. It's bidding 08. Look how the 5 minutes went above 40 into 47 and then pulled back. It wouldn't have mattered because your shares would have been the same, your stock would have been the same, just would make less, but wouldn't have changed the dynamics of where your stop is. All right, let's see what she's got. I think we're going to get in here at 04. There it is. Okay, let's see what we got here now. There's Tesla, a couple more. Does just about touch the anchor. Q's bounced a little bit. SPY did bounce. I think it's important to go back to these at the end of the day and look at all these, see how they responded to a support area. Get a little bit of grasp on that. Okay, so we're in Tesla here. It's 167. The stop is going to be 165.5. So first thing we do is we put our stop in there. 165.50. And then we'll see what our targets look like in here. I'll bring this up on a 5-minute chart. There's gap fill at 168.30, right? That's almost an R. We can get moving through that. We have open line. These are areas at VWAP, open, probably somewhere in here. I would try to take a third off at 1.5 R, and then I'll leave the back. And then I'll look at that box. There's two places. If I don't find an area in there, I could always go midpoint. That puts us right at the top of today. Sell off at 169.54. We're at 167. That's $2.50 move. That's almost 2R. All right, so that's what we got there. Let's go back. Now I can do 2 of these. Or I'll allow myself to do 2. Microsoft's out of the equation. MST are out of the equation. We're in NVIDIA. Tesla trying to get the anchor. Meta, kind of forget that. It's either going to be, it'd be the SPY or the Qs, and they've already hit bottom. The Qs actually went through it. SPY. It kind of made sense because you see yesterday's low, or Friday's low rather, and yesterday's low was right here. And there wasn't that big of an area. A lot of demand in here. It hit it and bounced. Qs haven't because the demand is further down. I'm watching for the Qs down here, guys. I'll let it try to get there. NVIDIA falling back just a little bit here, about a dime. Wow, the IWM went down 1% here. Sold off pretty hard. Credit spread still doing fine, or the iron fly rather. NVIDIA still fine, gave it room. So watching the Qs, the SPY not so much, Meta not so much, Tesla maybe kind of came back down to anchor again, right? Steer no. So basically, the Tesla down here. You got the 8s coming in at 342. Let's go back to our list and look at where support might be. Yeah, there's support on Tesla. Sorry, it's the wrong one. Where is it? There actually is after a bit. Oh, right above there. Okay. All right, that makes sense. You're below anchor. You may bounce off anchor here if the market does, but Tesla would be a good place to try to leg in at around 343. and then have a stop. Going to give a wider stop on that. Probably 340. All right, NVIDIA's starting to go. I'm going to put a target at open 168.30 for 1/3 of my position. So figure 30%, roughly. So 168.30. Now at that point, I'll go break even and let it go. Credit's working nicely as the market's moving back up. That reversion thing we talked about. And the other one I want to watch is Tesla. Now Tesla's moving with the market in here. I was going to put a bid in for Tesla, and I still may in a minute, at around 343. So watch it. Tesla can move fast. Q's move back up too. That's going to help the tech. It's going to help our NVIDIA. Big move back up, guys. Look where the SPY did it. Excuse me, did it yesterday's low. Almost exactly. Again, we'll look back at all these later and see how they followed the line as far as box and then support below. Okay, so I have I'll post this just so I can have a record of it. The target one, 30%, or whatever you want. 168.30. Okay, that'll put us somewhere around this area. Now, NVIDIA is one that could just totally reverse direction. It could be at 174 later today, right? And if that's the case, that's when you start making 4 or 5 bar. But we at least want to get a third out, and we can just be there for the end. What's this? 94 bucks up already. What's the spread sitting at here? I'm showing the spread is printing about 146-ish. 121, 20 more cents, and we're at target 1 here. Anybody doing 2 contracts or more in that? Anybody at least 2? Most of you is at 1.
I tried to get in 2 different accounts, but I couldn't rate the premium in the second account. So I'm at 1.
So you have to deal with all that money if you lose emotion in 1 account, right? It matters the way you see things.
I don't plan on losing.
There you go. You're doing well now. This little kickback here. Market's almost all the way back to reversion. Okay.
Yeah, my numbers were different than yours. I posted.
Yeah, how is that working for you? Were you at 51 or 49s?
I was at I'm sorry.
Oh, 6 wide.
I was 6 wide. Yeah. So I had a little bit more exposure, but I made about a dime more on the premium. So 10 bucks more. But I just, I just like to trade a little bit better. So, you taught us to be independent of you, right?
Cannabis is moving higher pretty quickly here, back over $5, dealing with the 8 and the 20, but it's one of those ETFs that can defy gravity if they get behind it. Keep going down, Kava. Talk to me later. NVIDIA holding up pretty well. I mean, this is just market pulling it back. You see where we did touch the 9 EMA on the 5 on NVIDIA. Nice little hammer, a little above average volume in this. Let's go back to our tree to look at the entry. So NVIDIA these popped at the bottom here, but the video knows we went through the box here. Let's say you use the box here at 167.49. So with the 166.40, you're still, still $1. That's not bad. You'd be basically back to break even now. Remember, once this is support line, because that's the low, that becomes resistance on the short time frame going higher too. Keep that in mind. But you want to go back up in the box, right? Back up through that support. Once it gets sucked back in, it can also be a benefit. But what was the thing, the catalyst in here? We looked at support area right here, and it did go down to as low as 74. So it went down 26 cents lower, which isn't anything, right? It's only about, 5%. And put the support there. These had a lot of demand everywhere, but it bounced off the base better. And this is a great study to do this. This would have been a little bit lower, but these 5 went up so high, it didn't allow the Qs to turn. But I've been interested in the Qs down there.
Hey, Jeff, since my wings were a little wider than yours, would my premium burn a little faster?
Typically, yes, but I don't think you're going to see it to the eye.
Yeah, it's probably not significant.
Yeah, it's like having a 5 wide and a 6 wide and an SPX. But if you have a 5 wide and a 30 wide, you'll see a big difference.
Yeah.
But technically, in decimal points, yes. But your exits might change because you have a higher price.
Yeah, my exit on 50% is $1.04, I think. Yeah, half of what I got. So
Okay.
yeah, I should stop trying to get in 2 different accounts, because 2 days in a row I've missed the second account. I just wasn't quick enough to get the same premium, and it just never
What's your
filled.
reason for doing that? Do you trade that for somebody else, or?
Yeah, my wife has accounts and I have accounts, so
So you have to go back to your wife. Said, well, the good
and I
news
have
is
I
I
have a
made money
Roth.
today. The bad news is you lost money today. The
No,
same thing, Bill. Well,
no, she doesn't beat me up. I've had a pretty good track record. I forgot
stop bringing your breakfast. You know something's up here.
Well,
UNH.
that happened a long time ago.
That's true. What happened last week? Once.
I don't know why. I'm less trusting of the credit spreads. I guess because it has such a narrow box to operate in. There's that psychological factor that says, oh boy, we don't have much maneuvering room here. Whereas on the debit spread, you have a lot of maneuvering room. So it's psychologically more punishing to be in a credit spread.
Yeah, it's a mental thing. I mean, a lot of this is emotion, right? Because you're dealing with money. So when you think about the loss and it starts going against you, your mind knows that this is a lot deeper of a risk. And we tend to push away that risk.
Is the XSP treated like capital gains like the SPX is on the tax?
1256.
Okay, thanks.
Same thing. Just a low way to stay in these longer terms using the same XSP, but just at a much lower nominal value.
I've been wondering if we got into the big boy, into the SPX, if then you might want to set some stops and limits, because the risk is so much greater. You're taking a $180 risk up to $1,800 per trade. I wonder if you set some limits on it, and you could get in and get out and kind of scalp the thing. Make it a couple
Yeah, if you
$100
want to take the downside originally, like we went back $35 here, you'd be back 350 on one contract.
Right.
Sometimes you get spooked out.
It's kind of like scalping in a way.
Yeah, and when they start off against you, then you wonder what you're doing.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, you can move up to the point where the size equals that, and what you gain on that is commissions. So if I had 10 contracts of this or one contract of that, effectively I'm the same, but I save I save 18 contracts of selling, right? So let's say there
yeah.
is 2 is 14, you got 10 is 1 is 7, let's say 10 is 70, you save $150 by moving to the SPX at that point.
Yeah,
Just
and
in
if you're gonna do 10, why not do just one? You know, it makes,
yeah, if you get to that
makes
point,
sense.
you can slowly move over. And you're gonna be on a credit side, $150 better. On a debit side, you're gonna be about $75 better because you're not getting out of that one.
Right.
Okay, so back through the list here, SPY bounce off the box. There was resistance of support below, so that makes sense to me. Hughes went through the box, but had more to go before I would want to enter that. But as extended here, had a volume spike on a wide range bar, and it did turn. Of course, the spike turned. Meta, nothing going on. It's still sideways. Tesla went down to anchor through the box, back up, back to anchor again, closed above. Was looking at this area, possibly for an entry at 343 I talked about. Still could be. And then NVIDIA, we're in, right? We just took this entry here, it's 167. So I like that. Hopefully that works. And then Microsoft, nothing there, and MSTR, nothing there. So we got the one we wanted. Tesla could have been another good one, but we didn't. Bounce pretty quick here. That came down to the low on Tesla is 343.82. I want to see around 343. Because sometimes we don't want to be, penny wise and pound foolish to say, well, I want exactly it. And this is by 3 cents. I get it. You lost 300 to try to get 3 cents better. Doesn't make sense, but if it's 3 cents, you think you're going to get it. All right, so we're just focused on NVIDIA now. We're up about a third of an R. We were up about a quarter of an R here. Let it dance. The one thing that's good about doing these types of extension plays, a lot of when they do turn, if they turn and the market turns, the upside, either coming down or going higher, can be a lot better. Like you're not already dealing with an extended stock up, you're dealing with a liquid stock. If they get behind on news, it could also take you out too. But this thing could run. We've seen the video look like this and end up here at the 50 before. That we're going to trade it that way, but we're going to trade the way we trade it, right? We're looking for, basically a gap fill-ish exit on a third. I'll move stock to break even, and then we'll watch it. We'll say, okay, my next interest area is going to be here. That puts me up $2.50. It'll come down as time goes on, but you could take half again or just take it all. If you want, you'd be up or probably close to 2R, R.7. I would take that.
Have you been documenting your box trades? And I'm kind of wondering how you've been doing on them.
Well, yes, I have been. I'll show you actually later. I'm actually yesterday I documented it was a 1 hour loss on this stats, but I started realizing I don't want to mess that up. So I had a new column for anything else other than box. So the box will have its own column. We didn't take one yesterday. We were about 1.8% up or up last week on the box. And today, this is the first trade we've taken this week. So we'll see how it goes.
Would you take more than one per day if the opportunity was there?
I can be in up to 2 at one time. That's why I was watching Tesla and still may actually be a Tesla. Market's coming down. Tesla seems to be digging on the market here. If I did Tesla, I'm going to be looking back here to that area around 343 would be my entry. And I'd put the stop around 340.
Have you published any rules for the stops and the targets and things like that yet?
Not really. I'm still fact finding here a little bit because I haven't really done it like this on a consistent basis, other than the spy at the money play. So, but generally speaking, I want to be looking for extending off yesterday's high and low and pre-markets, and then look for the next area. That area could be, and again, this is study going forward. So I'm going to watch them. We'll all look at them together. We'll see what's working. Then we'll get a better picture on the lion's share of things that are working better. So right now, it's done pretty well holding off the flat anchor, right? But if I look to the left, going out to as much as 2 days, if I want to enter the trade, I want a better entry. I'm going to come down to 343. Why? Because that's minor price support here. If you look at NVIDIA, I mean, the market's pulled back. NVIDIA's held okay, all things considered. But if I look at NVIDIA here, and I use the same metrics through the box, look back 2 days, and I see support at 167. That's where we entered, right? We entered on this little bar, so we're right in here. Right here. And so we're hoping that this through the box extension support and the second level support here is enough to stabilize the stock. So this is going to be work in progress, because I haven't sat here and day traded stocks so much using this method. I do believe and understand support resistance. I do like it. It fits my criteria. I'm more of a reversion person, shorting extensions and buying extensions. That seems to fit my personality. So, but I'm also looking back in here. So if I did put rules together, you must be out of the box, and you have to have something of catalyst there. Either going to have major support in the last two, minor price support the last 2 days, which is what this is, or some sort of a 4 bar, 3, 4, 5 bar, 5 bar extension in here. So far, this one fits the bill.
Would you suggest that we paper trade it for a while?
Yeah, or you can just do $10 risk, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
small risk, yeah.
That's what I've been doing, pretty much small risk.
Yeah, I'm just doing these at $100. So $10 risk is, hey, you lose $10. It's commissions on the XSP trade, so it's not a big deal. And that way you have skin in the game. To me, I've traded paper and I've traded with a little bit of skin in the game. I pay a whole lot more attention when there's a little bit of skin in the game, right? Even though it's $10,
Yeah.
you know, just because, you know, you could make 20, 30 bucks on the trade and you have something to win or lose. That will change your focus. So I think that might be important.
And as far as targets, you have like, usually at least from the rumors, they kind of target the middle of the box. That can't go all the way through, but you also want to look probably at candles and, you know, things like that.
That's where I'm doing a little different in here. My personality says sell a third at anything I can, like get a VWAP, give me an open, give me a gap fill. You've seen that because we've talked about it all the time. They can be very powerful, right? So I want to get rid of a third. I want to profit the trade somewhere in here. I'm going to go break even at that point. The rest is up to you. You can say, all right, this is my 50% marker, roughly 169.40, but I have to deal with VWAP, anchor. So if I make it through here, I could say, all right, my goal is here, right? But, you know, we've seen them also, they'll come back to the midpoint and then they'll keep going straight up, right, to the top of the box. But I would say for now, until we get more history, I would say put your marker in half, but identify where this anchor is in this case, in this one, and say, watch it teeter. If it struggles in here, you may want to trail it small. If it gets through it, maybe that's your bigger play. But I think it would fail right here. This has got supply here. It's a pretty good amount of reason to fail at that anchor.
Are they all 0 DTs, or do you do any swings on them?
We're doing shares.
These are just stocks, so they're shares.
If you were doing Qs or spies, you could do contracts because you don't have much of a spread.
Yeah, you're right. It's shares. Yeah.
You could go to that. You could do the only thing about doing options, you can't do a small skin in the game, right? Because you're dealing for
100 shares. Yeah.
You don't know where it's hard to tell, because by the time you get there, it could change your deltas. And if you're on a 0 DT, which is what I would do, it would change your deltas. So you can have a roundabout area to think that if I got in here, my stock was $2 lower, then the delta's going to move at 50 would be $100 loss. But it's not always the same. What if it went there later? The delta's going to be lower. It could be $120 loss. So it's not perfect, but it does gain you a lot of leverage. So if you get really comfortable with this and you want to trade the SPY and Q, let's say that's all you do, or at least when you do those, you could load the boat. You could go 10, 20, 30 contracts where you wouldn't be able to do, 3,000 shares of the SPY, probably. Most people in their normal intraday account. So it does give you leverage to that point. But if you see it happening, again, right now we're just more in fact finding, trying to learn this a little bit more in the sense of short-term supply, resistance support, how the tops and bottoms work, and then go back to every one of these later and say, each one of these that hit the bottom, what happened? Well, Microsoft hit the top, it failed. It was a double top or a triple top. I was thinking Microsoft by consolidation might go higher. It didn't. First, the market pulled back hard there. NVIDIA, it went to the bottom, it bounced, right? It did. It went from 167.50 to one, so there's $1 in there. Maybe you're taking some off, but it's better if we can get it through the box if you can find support to the left. The jury's still out on that, but that's what I'm looking for. Tesla doubled off on Anchor. I saw 343 as the entry. It's going the other way with the market now. Meta, nothing to speak of. Qs went to the box so far at 577.75, went down about 75 cents, and it's only up 50 cents. It's not a lot. I did go to see where it went to gap fill. If you were in it, that'd be a good place to take a third. And then of course the SPY, the Qs went down deeper. See, they sold a lot more percentage wise here, and your SPY went here, right down to the box. But look where the support is on the SPY to the left. Let's see Qs. See how Qs went a little bit deeper, but not deep enough. But the SPY had all this little short-term demand in here, right here at the box. Here's yesterday's high.
How far back do you go? Do you go 1
2
day
days.
plus the 2 days? Okay.
Good. So in this case, I'm going back to Friday. So Tuesday to Friday, Wednesday. In some circumstances, you might go back 3, but I would say 2 days would be a good look back from where supply exists on an intraday level. So right now, I don't see anything else setting up. Tesla, so far, if we did get in down here, let's just say that we were at this area here, and we got in at Anchor, so let's call that 344. And now you're at 346. You're probably almost 1 hour up. Well, Tesla's news driven, so this thing could fly up here, come down here. But get safe, but only get safe with a piece. It's the third. Let that back go. And we're dealing with liquid stocks that are high profile in the news. When you're behind the right one, these things will take you a country mile and then some. Right? And they're usually going to stay pretty, they're going to stay liquid. They're going to stay pretty tight, relatively speaking, for the price of the stock. UNH is getting it done here. I'm seeing it on the options at 251. This thing's down to 50 cents. All right. I mean, if it keeps going, these deltas are climbing. 350 is a strike 10 days out, which means I have a $12 VIG in this. I'm going to be basically 362.51 on break even. I would say that could do it. It's so oversold. Okay, NVIDIA target, like I said, I have 168.30. That puts me at just about an hour and a half. Maybe 1.7, slightly below. Now you do have VWAP that slowly is coming down below that. Gap fill doesn't change, but VWAP does. So we do want to watch it at 168.13.
Let me know when we can go off topic on something.
Go anytime.
Have you driven a Tesla? Because you're a former race car driver. I'd be interested. My daughter has one, and I've driven one. I'd be interested in your thoughts on electric vehicles.
I haven't driven a Tesla. I know they're super fast, but I have not driven a Tesla.
They are super fast. They are rockets. If they ever solve, I'm not a big electric car fan, but if they ever solve the range problem, those things are going to just totally take over. And what do you do with the batteries when they're exhausted? That's the other problem.
Yeah, there's some uncertainty there. I just got my wife a new car 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. And I didn't even do hybrid, and I could have got hybrid in that. And we just stayed with the all-wheel drive. We live up in the mountains in the snow here a little bit. But so I haven't even moved into hybrid yet, but I probably will eventually. But right now I'm just staying on gas. But I'm not opposed to them at all. I mean, who knows what the future is for those things. Well, look at SMCI. It's that's a little better than NVIDIA for sure, right? Coming off that 200 in there. Remember, this is the one I picked up. I only have 100 shares. I have about 44, so I'm a little under on that. But I just did it because I wanted to be near coming down. I forgot where I did it, but somewhere maybe in here. I must have done it somewhere in here. Oh, actually probably did it in here. I don't know what I did. I just bought it. So, but it is that 200. Look how that's holding there. You break through those 200 doesn't always last, but right now it's doing pretty well. The CNC, for those of you that are in it, could go, but remember, have limitations on your upside here. No more than probably 50 cents. NVIDIA closing the gap a little bit. We get this off the daily. It's back on the 5. Yeah, my neighbor has a Tesla, and I've never even been in one. I've been in one at the stores and the malls and stuff, but I've never driven them. I've never been a passenger in them.
They're really, the display on the Tesla, the console display is the best I've ever seen.
Yeah, I've seen that just peeking through, some that are there. Down in Phoenix a lot, and they've got a lot of the Waymos out there, the self-driving cars. And I pulled up by one the other day, and there was just a dog sitting in there, just like a dog, just driving this damn car. And of course, there was my first thought is someone's sending that dog to the beauty shop or to the grooming shop, and they're going to receive the dog. But I'm sure they have rules on that. But there was someone in the back there. I just didn't see it. It looked like the dog was driving the dang car.
There's a commercial like that. I think they have Labs and Goldens driving a car.
I've seen that, yeah, when they're talking to each other.
That would be startling to see a dog in the driver's seat.
Well, it'll make you take a double take, that's for damn sure. And you're like, what the heck? In Scottsdale, they're big. There must be 50 of those things running around the Scottsdale area.
I can see for some people that live in a big city and have to use a car to commute and not taking long trips, it would be an electric would make a lot of sense. I think. I don't know.
Yeah, I would.
My daughter was an early adopter. She bought her Model 3 the first year they were available. She got on the waiting list. And so she's had the car for, gosh, I don't know, 5 or 6 years. And it looks just like brand new, just absolutely brand new.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't like about them is getting in and out of the seats is a little bit cramped if you're a larger person. It seems like now she might have had her seat shoved up. I don't know, but it seemed like it was a little tight getting in and out of the car.
Yeah, I might have tried to hire this. All the rebates were on the gas models. We did our car, so we probably would. If there was good rebates, I might have tried it, but I don't think it was ready yet. But so we've got the gas model, but at least let me try that next time. But there was just rebates on the gas. That's probably more so why I went there. But yeah, I wouldn't be opposed of she drives in town a lot, so hybrids would probably be good for her. But she doesn't drive a lot. She still hasn't even looked at her manual yet. She just
hybrids make more sense because you got range, and that's what you don't have with the electrics.
Yeah, if you were more traveling to Scotland an hour and a half away, it doesn't do any good. But if you're traveling just local, which is what she does every day, that would be you'd almost. I think the mileage on a hybrid was 45 miles, and that she's probably getting 23. So makes sense if you're driving high road. But honestly, the rebates to me didn't justify the gas usage on that because they were pretty good rebates. So we just went rebate side. But yeah, if that was neutral, I'd probably try hybrid. I'll probably try it next time when her lease is up. But
I think
we'll see.
they really have to solve the two things with what do you do, how do you dispose of the batteries, and number two is range.
I've
What
often
the other
wondered
one is hauling. I don't know how.
how are they worth anything? What are they worth when the battery? It's like a phone. That battery gets memory. It loses its pizzazz. Like, how do they value the car?
Well, she's owned that car for 5 or 6 years, and her battery is still fine. You know, it still works great. So,
How many
and
miles does he have on it?
you know, I just saw her and I forgot to ask her.
Are you
Yeah,
over
I
100?
don't know. I'll ask her. I'll find out. She's she travels a lot in her job overseas, so I don't, maybe she doesn't use her car that much every day. Maybe that's why it's such in good shape.
Yeah, could be. She's probably way under the average then.
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing because she's probably out of the country more than she's in the country, so not many miles on it.
And the time off on Microsoft that looks better now. I had it on a 10-minute chart. So if you're flipping through, make sure you yeah, to me, I have to see the charts the same way. So when I see 10s and 5s and 15s, but let me say this about NVIDIA. I talked about this last week, particularly on these high liquid stocks. You can go break even if we do hit target one up here, but it would not be a bad thing to consider trailing, at least for a while, the 60-minute chart, 65-minute chart in my case. Now, I'm just looking back here a couple of days ago, well, from Friday, and then that big move down. So you moved up here 66.01, but down to 65.87. I would be more than probably that, probably 20 cents away. This actually would have trailed nicely, and you would have closed up here around 627, another dollar something. So you can also watch it trading these liquid stocks on a larger time frame. They have a more of a reason to people to get behind it and stick. Maybe not so much in the smaller ones, but these might. So keep an eye on the 65-minute chart. Again, I'm not sure I'm going to manage this. All I know is my first piece comes off at an area that I'm familiar with. And I'm familiar with and understand how they work under VWAPs and gap fills. And right now, this isn't screaming higher. Markets look similar. The market's almost a gap fill. If I pull up the SPY here, SPY is almost a gap fill. NVIDIA is not. We're just a little more extended down. So we'll hope that we can keep this thing going higher. Take a look at UNH. It's making the turn here. I mean, these options are worth $2.90 now, right? I was at 50 cents, right? I'm almost at break even on. I mean, I'm 580, 512 is what I'm averaged on that stock, so I'm not that far off. So another couple good days like this, we could be at 350 by tomorrow. I'll probably be $7 in these options. And I'll be at break even on the win and loss against that. SMCI is definitely leading the way here when it comes to semiconductors. NVIDIA, not yet. Of course, that can change anytime. So here we are in the XSP. When I can tell, my bid and ask are gone. But yeah, this is almost a target one. I'm showing 132. Is that what you guys are showing? 132. I have a target in at 121 for half.
I'm showing 132, 133, 134.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's about right. So when I look at the drop down and the again, if you didn't go this last week, what I was using was this. When I don't see the bid and ask without having to restart, go to the limit price, do the drop down, and whatever is in the box is where it's trading. So it's around 127.
What's your first target on the XSP, Jeff?
121. It's by a nickel away.
Yeah, see, if I would have had two contracts, my first target would have been 130. So I'd almost be out.
You'd have been out right here. But
Yeah.
remember, with four legs, it has to show like 116 to close at 120. Right? They don't always, close where you like them to. Markets at gap fill, 50% retracement going higher. Let's check the Teslas. It's going higher too. Good observations on these today, but it's been kind of a learning experience for me. But it won't take long to get really used to this. What I
So
want
you
to do is
can't,
go back
you,
and look at each one of those and look to the left and say, how many stopped up the box and why? Was there support to the left to note that? Was it just arbitrary because the market turned? And that would be good everyday activity to look at. The key on this is not to have big stops because you can make a lot of money. Look at the wedge coming on Meta here. It's trying not to have big stops. Because if you could find that bottom in the reasonable area, you could make 3 or 4 and 5 R in some of these trades if you don't freak out and just sell them into a 1 R win. I believe in taking some off the table, but let that back go.
And
Silver still coming.
I know this is obviously taking a little bit longer too, but that's probably because of the range day. Some of these, once you get there, it'll run.
Oh yeah,
right.
We went from extreme range into narrow range, and technically we're not an inside day when you look at that bar. We did break that area. Actually, low is 22. Oh my God, broke it by 1 penny. It looked like it's more. Broke it by 1 penny. Technically not, but we're still really an inside day. But once it starts to open up to normal, well, yeah, these will move more.
yeah, it's at 130, broke through
Yeah,
one.
move back up just a smidge off that pullback. Went up through the gap fill and pulled back. You guys see gap fill. I mean, how powerful. I mean, not that it won't get through it, but it definitely gets a reaction there, right? Then you got open line right above. I think, in my opinion, open line seems to be more powerful than even gap fill. These happen to be very close, within about a quarter, 30 cents or so. Wow, look at UNH flying here. Options are now 392. They were just at 290, right? Climbing the deltas. Never would have thought that. I was just trying to minimize the loss. Duolingo starting to go here on the market push. Volume starting to come in. Can't ask for a better credit spread than that right there, my friends. I always shudder when I see credit, but in reality is, if I were in a debit at this very one moment, I wish there was any credit, but coming down, I would have been glad other than the debit, but it changes in a hurry. Now, what I see NVIDIA doing here, I look at this in a vacuum, see it got above the 5, didn't retest, full hammer bar on volume, pseudo. Got above the 5, 1, 2 consecutive bars, and it's trying to close above these 2 consecutive bars that are above the 5. That doesn't always mean anything, but I want to see 2 consecutive bars and whatever the high is, which is 167.83 if it doesn't get rejected, which is right here. Then I would say, okay, I would say that, okay, it successfully made the 5 and it might go. But that's where a lot of people get fired at. That's where algorithms kick into some of these VWAPs and things like that. Wow, this made it back in a hurry. I don't know what happened to this. Maybe I'll make my grand today on this, or 2 grand starting to go. Fine, still rejection, gap fill here. Look at UNH go, my friends. Look at that. Wow. 465 on the options now. We were just at 290, right? So it'll start going faster with little smaller movements because the deltas are climbing. So look at the September 19th strikes on the 350 calls, and you'll see where the deltas are right now. Just 10 days out. There. 350 calls are at 33 deltas. So for every dollar that's moved, the option's moving 30 cents. If we very quickly we'll be in the we'll be 50 deltas on this. It'll go faster from $5 to $12. It'll go from 1 to 4 with the way you move higher in those deltas. This is trying to close. It technically never closed above those 2 bars on a 5-minute chart. It didn't actually even break higher. It went up 280. Well, it did break higher by a penny. Didn't close there. It did break. Cannabis still moving. Lulu, come on down. Well, not Carbon, Kava. All right, we're closing in on target here, slowly but slowly. It's not. Should be going a little faster here. It's a little weak considering what the market's done here, but we're up here about a half hour. Everybody pretty much maxed in at one contract. Sounds that way. Okay.
I'm
So we're 120.
I'm still at 1. I may go to 2.
Okay. The hardest part is moving from 1 to 2. It really is, because then you're like, oh god, I could give up 2 days or 3 days in one day.
Yeah, I think
Because there were some days I didn't take the trade, so I was still under $1,000.
I'm going to go to 2 tomorrow for sure. We'll probably lose.
Well, you saw me. I was at 3 yesterday. Do you think I really wanted to be at 3? No, but in reality, I'm trying to follow this as much as I can, even though my emotion says not to. But at the same time, I know that the data long term is preserves, but we are going to have one of those yank days at some point in the future. But I'm hoping that we climb high enough to where, yeah, it'll sting a little bit, but we're still well in the money on that.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I'm playing. I'm trying to build as much surplus as I can because I know my winning percentage is so high right now that I'm bound to hit. I have hit 3 losses in a row at one time, but I'm waiting for the time where I have 5 or 6 loss days in a row. It's gonna happen, you know.
Just prepare yourself for it. Hopefully it happens later than sooner. It's a lot easier to deal with. Look at this at $6 already. Remember, we just saw this at $2.90. It's $3 up in the option. Now you're climbing 38 deltas. UNH. This actually may go green. Maybe I can uncover my Lulu in that. That video, it looked struggling in here. It really did. And I see the little sell stuff at a 15 coming. That's fine. I'm okay with that, but I want to see it get rebuked. Definitely on a different page in SMCI here. Look at that. Still no. It's CNC. If you're in that stock, it finally got through, right? This is probably an area of, I mean, I think long term it's been beat up and may go, but I would say there'd be some clipping going on up here. Get my toenail clippers out. Be clipping some out. It's like the only one I'm going to get here. And again, if things set up, I'm not opposed to going back to this later today or any day and keeping a look at these. Right? I don't want to do it in the doldrums, but I would be interested in trading this. As long
Yeah,
as
I have seen cases like PLTR when it's gone, gone one way and then with the other second part of the day.
yeah, this is starting to get a hand. It's starting to kind of close back above that 8 and the 50 and all that. Now you got the 50. The last 2 days, the 50 did cross the 8. Video's still just dancing around here, nothing energetic about it. Dang, 690. Look at that. Wow. She just bought 50 of those suckers at 290. Definitely making a move. Come on, Warren, don't stop now.
Was UNH the company where the CEO was killed?
Yeah,
Yes.
Brian Thompson was murdered in that New York City by that young idiotic guy that people praise for some reason. I don't get it. What upside down world. But it happened right in here. Remember November of last year, I think. So right in here is where it happened. And then of course then it regained and then lost it again. I don't know why. It was like earnings in there, but this is right around November, I think, is right in this area is where that
Goes
thing
to
happened.
show you that people are crazy, because now some people have formulated or started a GoFundMe page to pay for this guy's defense.
Oh, it's absolutely insane. What a
Yeah.
crazy world we live in.
Yeah, up is down and down is up.
Some bad spirits out there for sure. All right, that's about all I got. So run it. We got one here. I think we'll go back to, we'll keep studying these and looking at these areas. But so far so good. We'll hang on to it, see if we can get a bigger move on this thing. I'm watching this also maybe to trail at 65. If I did trail it on the 65, 60 now, would be the low on that is the low, so we can't really do it. You need a couple hours. Like some of these really will become day trades if you follow that, because they might take all day, but they go up. And as long as you're around your computer, make that adjustment, it's fine. This is going to trigger a sell right here under it's at 124 right now. I have 121 as my exit. If we keep going up here on XSP, or at least time keeps going by. So we've had a pretty good run. As a matter of fact, where are we at in this? Well, let's see. Tracked it on the log. Oh, the log here. So this is where we are. Hold on, this is all through my Google account. Oh, come on. Well, okay, there it is. So there's the logs of the trades. And I have a separate place, and I am tracking them in here too. So you'll see, even as of yesterday, see there, we've had a pretty good size of wins happening from August 4th. So pretty much all of August, we won most of our trades, right? A couple we carried over, we didn't. But this is the monthly expiration. This is going to be about another week. We'll work on that. Market's pulling in here a little bit. But here's where we were in the open trades, 9-8. I was, where was I? 210 it was. I'll get the exact. Push that in there. So here's where we are. Remember, this one was a win too. We just didn't play it. Did not trade. Remember, JC got that one. I didn't. We still have 374 without that. We had a good start to the week yesterday, and hopefully today will continue. We'll push back will probably hurt the short term, but not too bad. We're enough time behind us in there. All right, guys, so I'll be in the background. I am going to keep watching these trades throughout the day. And I think on the mentorship call today, that'd be a good time to review this and see how things actually worked out today. You should do it every mentorship call just to kind of get a better grip on how those day trades actually exceeded or the box and was there support below that made a difference. And then we'll have a better handle on some rules and stuff like that. All right, I'll be in the background. I'll see you guys on mentorship at 2:30. Thank you.